Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome once again to Full Fat Spoiler Chat. This week's topic is the last two episodes of The Mandalorian, and very specifically, and we'll say this before we get into any spoilers, specifically Baby Yoda's eating habits in those two episodes. Um, so, a warning, as we always do, this show is called Spoiler Chat because we talk spoilers. If you have not seen, if you're not caught up on The Mandalorian, and you do not want spoilers for those episodes, or probably stuff for both seasons actually, then please do not continue to watch. If you are okay with spoilers, or if you are caught up, please do watch. Join us in the chat and talk along with us about this craziness. Um, so, spoilers, in case I wasn't clear about that. I'm Rodney Brown, the editor in chief of Nerd Caliber, first person shooter as a photographer on cosplay photographer on Facebook, Burley underscore adopter on the Twitters and some other places. And joining me tonight for this spoilery chat is, let's see, let's start with Ashley and we'll go counterclockwise. Ashley, I'm not hearing
Yep,
anything.
shut my mic off. Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Oops.
I'm Ashley Lauren Rogers. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I'm a playwright based out of Brooklyn, New York.
Awesome. Simple and quick.
Yeah.
Byron.
Byron McNeil, aka Bardy Zero, artist, contributing writer, video content creator, social media expert, and a bunch of other stuff on the interwebs. Ready to talk spoilers? Woo!
Cool. And Gogo.
Hi, I'm Gogo Incognito. I'm a longtime Nerd Caliber contributor. I'm also a cosplayer, a burlesque artist, and a glamour model.
Oh, nice and simple. I like it. We want to get right into this, obviously. So, last chance, folks. We're going to spoil this show. We're going to spoil this topic. And if you are not ready for that to happen, then I would say, bye bye. It's great chatting with you. Before we get into it, on the YouTubes, Yvette Simone's Cruz, welcome. And again, spoilers. Coconut Gamer, welcome. And spoilers. Coconut Gamer, I also eat unfertilized eggs. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. And so let's start right off. Normally, what we do is I will tell you a little bit about the intellectual property that we're talking about and where it comes from. In this case, there's no need. It's The Mandalorian. It's Star Wars. It's on Disney Plus. If you somehow manage to avoid all of the Baby Yoda plushies and everything else, and don't know that there's a character called the Child, which everybody calls Baby Yoda, then where am I here? I did it again. All right, trying to get a way to balance out. Yeah, never mind. You don't need to know this. Kind of lost my screen for a second. So this character that everybody calls Baby Yoda, so we're going to call, for the most part, unless anybody else wants to call it something different, Baby Yoda.
It's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. And that's pretty much it. The show is a set post Empire or post Republic collapse. No, post Empire collapse.
Yeah, post.
But prior to the establishment of the First Order and the Resistance. They don't call it the Rebellion. What do they call it in the second part? The Resistance. And it follows a character who is a Mandalorian, although not from Mandalore by birth. Played by Pedro Pascal, wonderful job. Everybody in it's generally pretty awesome. And the Baby Yoda animatronics, because it's almost all animatronics as far as I can tell,
Yes.
is wonderful. And it's a cute, wonderful, adorable character that is 50 years old in a species that lives around 800, so
Or 900, I believe.
or 900, so 4 or 5 in human terms, because you're looking at average lifespan of a human maybe 80 years, so you're looking at pretty close to a 1-to-1. I mean a 1-to-10 ratio. So And the character acts like a toddler in the first season. It's in the second season that we're in now that some interesting things happen. Okay, and for those of you who, again, if you're watching this, I'm sure you know, in the second episode of the second season, the Mandalorian is required by Amy Sedaris' wonderful mechanic character on Tatooine to take on a transportation client, which is some sort of species that we've never seen and he's never seen. That's essentially a humanoid frog that is transporting. It's a female, I guess, or female analog, transporting its eggs, which are already outside of its body, in a glass jar kind of container to a water planet where the character's mate, the female's mate, will have to fertilize the eggs. And she makes it clear that this would be, if she doesn't happen, it would be the end of her particular. They don't use the exact term bloodline, but it's essentially that's what it means. And during the course of the episode, Baby Yoda breaks into the jar and eats a number, kind of unspecified number. Ashley, I think you're muted again.
No, I'm just.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for checking. No, okay. I'm
Yes. Yep. Unspecified number of the eggs. And so what we're going to talk about here are the implications, the ethical and moral implications of what Baby Yoda did and was doing. Whether it makes sense in the storyline, what the implications are for the greater Star Wars universe, what the implications are for the way the other characters react. But we're going to start with first reactions. So in that episode 2, when we first saw this happen, let's keep going counterclockwise. Ashley, did you have a reaction other than, ha, that's funny, or what sort of reactions did you have when you first saw that?
Yeah, I mean, I will admit at first I did laugh because this is a thing that a toddler would do is here's something that's small enough to put in my mouth, I'm going to put it in my mouth. But at the same time, I definitely, like, the implications were told to us initially. And then they also showed Baby Yoda put his hand on the case and the egg started moving towards the hand. So it told me immediately there's some sort of sentience or some sort of something, even though it's an unfertilized egg, there's something that we're going to figure out. And to see him continuously eat them, yes, the comedy read to me, but at the same time, it was definitely a like, wow, they definitely went a Baby Yoda heel turn to use wrestling lingo.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of what it read like to me. Byron, before we get to your take, Lauren Aldridge, welcome to the show. Yep, eggs. And Mitsuki Porter, welcome to the show. Mitsuki Porter, sorry. Both of you, if the title hasn't shown anything about what we're doing, this is a spoilery show. We're talking about the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian and specifically Baby Yoda's eating habits. Bold Pringle, welcome to the show. When does episode 4 drop? Well, it's Thursday, so that would be tomorrow. I don't think they do it right at midnight. It's like 2 a.m. Eastern, maybe. Anyway. So, yeah, tomorrow. Byron, your take on first seeing this.
Oh, at first glance, I thought it was a little funny, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't cringe a little bit because I'm just like I wasn't as outraged as some people on the internet where I'm just like, really, that's kind of messed up. Like, it was an awkward joke to do.
That's a fair take. Go.
I cringed for multiple reasons. For one thing, there was something about the slurping, the sound, and it also I watch things with subtitles. Helps me process what I'm seeing better, and they literally put in parentheses slurps, and I'm like, okay, it is a slurp, and I just found myself going, ew, I don't like that. The eggs being soft and see-through, I thought they were beautiful, and then also just the grabbing this and the slurping, I was like, okay, that's gross. So I actually love spiders. So I was like, yeah, giant frost spiders. But I really, really didn't like what happened with the eggs for several reasons. I thought it was gross. I thought it was just for shock value or something, maybe. And I also didn't like the way he was Baby Yoda was reprimanded, and what happened after. So I'm on it.
Yeah. So I didn't have any chuckles when this happened.
Me neither.
I didn't find it even remotely amusing. As Baby Yoda started approaching, I kind of got the nervous laughter. I was like, oh, okay. And then they're going to just, Mando's going to come in and sweep him out. I was like, nope, you can't do it. Nope, they opened it up. He opened it up and just started chowing down. And immediately my reaction was, like Byron said, cringing. I just like, this is not right. Sure, Baby Yoda is a toddler, 4 or 5, and toddlers put things in their mouths to play around with. And we saw that in previous episodes with the frog, which he spat out at one point and then went back and ate. So in that episode from season 1, we know that Baby Yoda tries putting things in its mouth. Okay. And 2, it eats living creatures. Again, that's a little bizarre, but not particularly weird. These were unfertilized reproductive material of a sentient species. Baby Yoda didn't know that, as far as we know. But we now know that Baby Yoda is vocal, has words. In episode 3, Baby Yoda started saying things. Equivalent of 5, I would guess. And I just, from that point on, everything in that show about Baby Yoda got weirder and weirder. Gogo, you mentioned the frost spiders and the frost spider eggs. Baby Yoda cracks open,
that's right. That happened too.
Baby Yoda cracks open a frost spider's egg and eats an unhatched spider, which was disgusting.
Yeah.
There was nothing funny about that. Long strands of green goo going back into the broken open egg and spider limbs. It's like, come on.
See, I wonder if Baby Yoda was unsuccessful at eating one of the frog lady's eggs, if that moment would have been funnier, if a lot of it would have been funny. If it's this game of, nope, can't do that, nope, stop that, oh, just caught you. I probably would have laughed a lot more as a real reaction that I think they were trying to get us to have. Because that absolutely, again, like that idea, very young, so maybe doesn't fully understand, doesn't care about the authority that is here. He doesn't understand the authority, so is saying I'm just going to eat this. Yeah. But because Baby Yoda was successful multiple times, it reads a lot differently. And I think that's the main thing that I found is he was successful.
I agree with Ashley so much. And I feel like she couldn't have said it better. And I don't have, I almost said something really disgusting. I don't have kids of my own. I was about to say something derogatory, but I didn't. I love kids, but I have nannied for years and years and years. And that is exactly toddlers' behavior.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, get down from there. Oh, don't put that in your mouth. Don't stick your finger there. What are you doing? Don't flush that.
Or my favorite, all done. All done.
And they don't understand. They don't like being told no, and then they either pout about it, cry about it, throw a tantrum, or do something. I think,
or go back to it.
Yeah, or go back to it. Which honestly, if we had gotten almost like a montage, not a montage, but we saw the Mandalorian say multiple times, "That's a no," but it obviously wasn't effective at all. If it had been a thing where he was doing it every 5 minutes and then finally had to sort of put Baby Yoda in a space Bjorn, strap him to his chest or something. I think that would have been hilarious because anyone who's been around, kids, cousins, whatever, nieces, nephews, babysitting, you would get it. I mean, I actually am going through that right now with a pet. So that's the thing is, man, who are no, and they're right back to it. Mando even says, like, I have enough pets. Of course, Baby Yoda's not a pet, but since they can't really communicate too well. And one last thing I wanted to say, see, Rodney, when I saw his hand go up and them coming towards, I actually thought, oh, he's going to protect them. Because we've seen him do Force stuff for good and protect. And we've seen that. And then I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, it was weird. My take on that was almost my take on that was almost like an aquarium. You put your hand up, fish can see it, and so fish come toward it. Now, granted, the eggs are at that point were unfertilized, so they have no any kind of neural anything, so that doesn't make any sense. But it could be, or it could have been him, like you said, drawing them towards him with the Force. And if that's the case, he was doing it so he could eat them more easily,
rather than protect them.
Exactly. This kind of amazes me. So that description of what you think would have been funnier would have been way funnier. It would have been a nice bit of sight gag, and it makes me wonder whether or not the relatively rapid production schedule for getting season 2 out meant that there was a little less, not oversight, but brewing of the writing. Jon Favreau wrote this episode, and Favreau's a funny guy. Although now that I think about it, I'm not ever going to eat from his food truck. Damn. But it's like he wrote this bit and then no writer's room went, yeah, you know what? How about if we did this?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a production thing or if that's the way the show goes normally anyway. But it just seems like not only was it missed opportunity, it was missed. I don't know if we could call it mischaracterization, because you can't really blame Baby Yoda for this.
Yeah, but it really does hurt Baby Yoda's character now, because there are people that were really all about the Baby Yoda, and even though eating the frog, eating the spider, to have this, and I know that we're going to talk a little bit more about like why these stakes are a little bit different than say the frog or say the spider, but like really there is that there are different stakes involved in this, and Baby Yoda did eat a bunch of these eggs,
right? Which gets to my next point. The one real character flaw, character writing flaw in this whole thing, or the two, were the Mandalorian's reaction, both to Baby Yoda, where he was just like, oh, you stop, no, you can't do that, as opposed to, you're committing genocide. If this ends this person's bloodline, at the very least you're eliminating their heritage. And whether if they meant bloodline as an ethnicity, then you're committing genocide. And his reaction, now granted he's a Mandalorian, but still his reaction is just like, yeah, no, don't do that. And then lies to the mother, or doesn't say anything, lies by omission, about what happened. And then the mother's reaction, when clearly she realizes that the eggs are fewer in number, and this isn't like a earth frog where it's hundreds of eggs. There's maybe 24 to begin with. No reaction whatsoever. No reaction of horror. No reaction of anger. No,
I was wondering when that was going to come back, because even then, like, we see, because obviously there is a certain extent where she needs this transport. She needs to be able to get there, and this is the only person that she could get her there. So there is a certain extent that she may have been feeling this conflict of, do I say anything? Do I do anything? I guess I'm just going to have to grin and bear it. And that's another narrative that we're like, again, because Baby Yoda was successful at eating these eggs, we have to have this headcanon of her having this horrible conversation in her head. And it's just like, I almost feel like we don't need to have that. Like we have to, because this is the narrative that we were given, but it's just like, I feel almost like we don't need to have this conversation in our head. It should have been a what could have been, as opposed to a what did happen.
Yep.
I I hadn't really thought about that before, and I really appreciate you bringing that up, because I'm thinking, okay, this is a mother who is going to risk her life to meet up with her mate. She's holding on to these eggs for dear life.
Your life.
Yeah, she's taking a perilous journey with a complete stranger. She's a mother, not mother bear, but mother frog. I mean, you'd think at least there would be, like Ashley said, horror or sadness, and some kind of emotion, or getting back on the robot to do translation. Say anything. Say, Mandalorian, your child is eating my eggs. Where can I secure this canister so that this no longer, something. It's a mom with her brood, and the last chance for them to succeed.
Yeah, that whole thing, that whole thing in general, it reeks of low-hanging fruit as far as the amount of, whatever thought process was put into it. Because, I got a slight chuckle out of it. Again, it was awkward. It was not it was poor. It was in poor taste. Now, I'm not part of this subreddit of people that want to cancel Baby Yoda or anything, because at the end of the day, it's just bad. It's just a case of bad writing.
Yep.
But I understand, to a small extent, I understand how people would be outraged over it.
Yeah, I'm disturbed as hell, but I'm more outraged over the fact that Favreau wrote this and just let it happen without any sort of oversight or any check on it, or anybody looking at it and going, yeah, maybe having the most beloved character created in the Star Wars universe in decades almost commit genocide for jokes isn't the right way to go about this.
Yeah.
It just so. One of the things I think that an argument might be brought up, and I've seen this, in other posts going around in forums and so on, is that it's an alien. We don't know how it's going to react, and to that I say, nothing in the Star Wars universe has ever been written as anything except human, ever. No alien of any kind, no AI of any kind has ever been written as anything except 100% human.
Yes.
The most bizarre looking things you can think of in this universe, flying winged little taper nosed, child slave owners.
Oh my God, yeah.
Are greedy little humans. Jabba, a giant friggin' slug, is a greedy human. There's no alienness to any of them.
Even that earlier in that, the following episode. Early in the following episode, you have the squid people who are basically body harvesters.
Yep.
They're all portrayed with some sense of humanity.
You mean the Mon Calamari, or the ones that
Mon Calamari?
Oh.
No, so the Mon Calamari are Akbar's people, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
These are the ones with the squid tentacles. What race is that?
It begins with a Q, but I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that look like mind flayers. Yeah.
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 Yes. And I'll give them this. In that episode, the episode 3, again, generally they use practical, but there was one, it had to be CGI because nobody could do this practically, when one of those things grabs, I think it's like a knife or something going by them with the face tentacle. I'm like, that's the kind of Star Wars stuff I'm here for, I'm waiting for. That was just a wonderful little bit. Whoever thought that was a good thing to do and invest enough money to make that CGI tentacle thing happen, kudos to you. Too bad you didn't yell at Favreau. It just, there's so many bizarre choices in these 2 episodes from a writing standpoint.
I wanted to add to that, saying with Star Wars as of late, there's probably no hint of Chekhov's gun in this scenario.
Meaning something that they present early has to be used later on. Was there?
Yeah, Like in the case of Baby Yoda eating the eggs, I doubt that will be the case.
See, and that's the perfect place to do that would have been when Mando left Baby Yoda with the frog mother and frog father, because for a bulk of season or episode 3, it's Mandalorian doing Mandalorian things with a bunch of other Mandos that take off their helmets, questioningly, and so they're like leaving Baby Yoda prone with these people who Baby Yoda has been eating the eggs of. And if things went down again, like if the mother knew, if the mother understood, if the mother saw or even just noticed what was happening, you've got to question sort of like not necessarily why didn't they take any sort of revenge, because that's just not the people that they are, that they've been written as.
Worries me.
But it's just like, why would they agree to take on babysitting the child, other than they're the only other characters that have been introduced and they didn't want to write another alien?
Apparently so. And that's another, I completely forgot about that, but that's a great point. You know, you take this character who has been should have been horribly traumatized by this little green pointy-eared thing that's eating their yet to be fertilized children, and then, oh yeah, could you keep an eye on them? Yeah, I'll keep an eye on them. Let me stuff them in this oven. You know, having that frog mother try to come up with some sort of revenge and being stopped by the Mandalorian would have been the Chekhov's gun, would have been the appropriate response. And again, maybe you can say that that's not the way their species reacts, and I'll give them that. All throughout the Star Wars canon, people write species as stereotypes of a particular thing, and so there are passive species, and then there are, you know, very aggressive species, and so on. And maybe this is in fact a passive species, except you don't survive. You know, if there's no aggression there and no mothering protection instinct, you know, the species doesn't survive.
No. I felt like, again, going back to the poor writing, I felt like we saw it in absolute lack of characterization. Just like, what can we do? What has eggs? I know, frogs. Oh yeah, and some, you know, frog mothers or frog daddies, they keep them in their mouth and they're really protective and blah, 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 blah. But like, again, with the subtitles, these aliens weren't even given a name. It was just called frog. Like nothing. It was just called frog. And, you know, then Amy Sedaris, of course, is talking to the mom, and she's like, I speak frog. I'm like, that's cheap. I'm like, obviously, these are like throwaway characters. You know, they were added just for the sake of, you know, moving the plot along or a side quest, because that whole thing felt like a freaking side quest.
Right.
And I mean, okay, can I say one other thing?
Sure.
Okay, going back to the whole thing of motherhood and parentage, sure, like he's a Mando, he's a bit stoic, whatever, but he grew up, you know, with the Watch or whatever. He was a foundling. He's already shown how thankful he is for that, which meant he wasn't just being like, here, kid, learn how to shoot a gun. It was, you know, they raised him with education and care. They didn't like, you know, probably said, look both ways before crossing the street. You know, you don't grow into a really competent adult if you're never disciplined, you know, and taught. You don't know. So again, poor writing, because if he really cares about this kid, he's going to try to keep him safe in every way. Like, maybe don't eat these people's eggs, because also you don't know, it might poison you.
True. That would have been a wonderful twist. You know.
Oh, see, yeah. Like, oh, why is Baby Yoda sick? It's like, because he's committing genocide.
They're not causally connected, but the two things are happening. Yeah, okay. The idea of the Mando, so we know he was raised in a loving family until his people were killed, up until I think 8 is what they say. So yeah, he was raised appropriately and then raised with very tough love. I think Bo-Katan is correct, based on Dave Filoni's version of the expanded Star Wars universe. Mandalorian's group is a kind of fundamentalist, crazed religious sect.
You see a lot of that in Rebels too.
Yep. And so the taking off of the helmet is not an uncommon thing among most Mandalorians. That's a thing among the people who are the followers of the weapons maker, the armorer,
Yes.
and so on.
Traditionalist.
The traditionalist. This is the way. Yeah. And for one, I think it's wonderful that they've made his character. This is a good bit of writing, that they've made his character somebody who's in this. What everybody else in the Mandalorian society views as a fundamentalist cult. Mr. Krakowian, welcome back to the show. Again, I think you've probably figured it out by now, but we're spoiling the heck out of the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and so the warning is given. It's up to you to do with that as you will. So one of the things that, and I got thinking about this, other examples of things like this, and I don't know of any particular, but it got me thinking about, right from the very beginning, the Star Wars universe is kind of a hellscape. The Republic and the Jedi allow, with zero commentary, slavery, child labor. They know it happens, they know the worlds that it's happening on, and they don't care. It's
and
not
more, I see more over on that. The Jedi are allowed to do as they please. So we got we have no boundary set for religious cults whatsoever.
Yep. I'm not really sure if there's any examples of religious cults in any of the previous Star Wars content.
Well, in Clone Wars and Rebels, Death Watch. I don't know if that's
okay, good point.
Religious, or again if that's kind of a fundamentalist cult.
Yeah, kind of more religio, politico, fascio. Yeah, they're disturbing bunch of people.
By a charismatic leader.
Yes, exactly.
I will say, especially at the point of this character of Mando being, I'm just going to keep calling him Mando, of Mando being part of this very fanatical cult specifically, or fanatical sect. As a person that has not consumed a lot of Star Wars media outside of some video games and the major movies, this was a thing I did not see coming. And so as the person who's just sort of jumping in, like I'm sure a lot of other folks are, hearing that was very much a oh, do we have an unreliable narrator? Oh, interesting. That idea of which one is lying? I don't know who to follow. So I'm oh, okay, this I'm into.
So in that case, I apologize for spoiling that, because I'm sure they're going to explore that as they get further on into the episode, that Bo-Katan is right.
That's fine. I'm here
gosh,
for that.
Yeah, I
just
didn't even realize that is a spoiler for what's to come. So
yeah. And again, we don't know how much. We know, that most of this is based on Dave Filoni's work in Clone Wars and Rebels. But we don't know how much of that is going to inform any particular plot point going forward. They introduced Bo-Katan, and they're introducing Ahsoka Tano. It's gonna play.
They're not. From what I hear, it's not going to be in this forthcoming episode, though.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. They tease somebody.
They did tease Ahsoka.
Yeah, they did too.
Bo-Katan said, "Go to blankety blank place and tell Ahsoka Tano that Bo-Katan sent you."
Yes.
Yeah.
But but then again, it may take Mando and Baby Yoda another few episodes to actually get there, because side quests.
Yep.
Because that definitely feels like a season ender for folks that have been coming to the. Yeah.
True, it would be one of those things, sort of like the reveal of the Darksaber was, a huge, big season ender. And the reveal of both Ahsoka Tano. For some reason, I want to pronounce it more Japanese, Asuka. But Ahsoka Tano and whatever might follow from that reveal, you're right. It would make a lot more sense for that to be at the end. But I think that this whole Baby Yoda thing, it was basically just Jon Favreau saying, hey, what can we do to make a yuck in this side quest that's going to get them to the point where we can introduce Bo-Katan? And went, hey, let's make him, Baby Yoda likes to eat things. Let's, show that Baby Yoda is eating these eggs, and didn't even consider what the implications of that are.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because that means that's an unresolved, because I'm sure they're going to ignore it. That it's, it's not going to happen again, or there's going to be other jokes, but it's not going to be about more sentient species. That I don't think that this is ever going to come up, and that's just going to be something that's going to hang there going, well, what about Baby Yoda's tendency to, eat sentient beings?
Like, and I wonder, so I just keep trying to fix this for them. Like, I wonder if we didn't know, we as the audience and Mando didn't know that they were her eggs. If they're just like, what is that? Can't tell you. I don't like that, but okay. Like,
except that she, through Amy Sedaris' character, spells out exactly what they are and why she needs them to go to that planet.
See, yes. And I feel like it still would have ruined the episode, but I wonder if our opinions of Baby Yoda eating these things would have changed if we, the audience, and Mando and Baby Yoda didn't know that ahead of time. Like, if we find out through some means that they're not paying me enough to rewrite their episode, but like if they didn't know, like suddenly it's just like, oh, this is an implication that now we have to deal with. Oh,
I love that.
Yeah,
love that.
But again, it missed opportunity. As
he could have just taken the eggs and be like, "This is precious cargo. You have to deliver these eggs to the mother and the father, the last of their line, or whatever, last of the species." I love it. See, Ashley's a writer, so
yeah, and apparently better at this than Favreau.
I'll take it.
I guess I can't blame Baby Yoda too much, as I think we've said enough on the show that Baby Yoda is a toddler, and it's going to eat things that it thinks are delicious. It disturbs the hell out of me that it thinks that's delicious, but it thinks unhatched spiders are delicious. So,
and then they doubled down with him getting chowder at that eatery, and it had what looked like just a little baby octopus in it, like a regular creature of the sea, but it was still alive. And then but then I don't remember if Mando killed it or not. But
so as someone who regularly eats takoyaki, that didn't bother me.
Yeah, except the takoyaki isn't moving when you're eating it. At the very end, remember, so we don't know. I read this article about the things Baby Yoda ate in that episode, in these two episodes, and we don't know whether or not he or it ate the squid or octopus. You're never shown that, whether it actually even goes back, or he goes back and finishes the chowder.
He did. The Mando did kill the baby octopus though, because he was trying to attack the baby.
Yep. But then at the end, remember, it kills that starfish thing and eats it. Or actually eats it alive.
Mando kills the starfish.
Mando kills the starfish, and then Baby Yoda eats it.
Starfish face hugger is what I thought. I was like, whoa.
That's what it looked like it was going to do.
That was a fun little thing, especially where it's like you've got this whole episode of Baby Yoda eating stuff, and then suddenly something that Baby Yoda is trying to eat is fighting back, and then it's like, oh, we're supposed to feel bad. Oh, okay. I mean, I do. But like, oh, we're supposed to feel bad. Okay.
Yeah. And if that's what it was, if both of those two episodes were Baby Yoda eats weird things, and one of those weird things just never was the the genetic material of a sentient being, then I would have been fine. I think so many opportunities for funny in that. And Favreau just, for whatever reason, just didn't think. I mean, he thinks like this, again, a lot of people I've seen on the internet think is like, oh, I eat unfertilized eggs. You eat unfertilized chicken eggs.
Yep.
I don't know if you've actually been on a chicken farm, but they are not the smartest beings in the world. And this frog is not only intelligent, clearly, is technologically savvy enough to reprogram a killer bounty hunter droid to be able to speak for it.
The other major thing about all of that is, okay, let's hypothetically create a world where these frog creatures are flourishing, and they've worked out a deal with the humans, with the Jedi. Hey, you want some eggs? They're a delicacy. Absolutely. But we've got to make sure that we're surviving. Let's figure that out. This is literally, and I believe that it was presented as this is the last of the species, as opposed to, like, it may have been Bloodline and I may have misheard that, but
B-Star flashbacks right now.
but that's the main difference for me, is like, literally this is going to be the end of the species, and yes, that ups the stakes immensely, but it also means that Baby Yoda really can't succeed at eating these eggs.
Right.
Like, you can't do that.
And the reaction to that should have been, like I said before, way, way more intense on everybody's part. Byron, I just got what you said. I think that would have been hilarious if that was sort of a Beastars-like universe where people eat people. And whether it's an underground thing or even above ground, I think.
Well, I mean, technically that thing is, that particular scene in Beastars wasn't underground, because the hen was donating her eggs to the cafeteria.
Oh, I thought you meant the guy who was selling his fingers.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! Okay.
Oh yeah, no. This anime Beastars is one of the most amazing animes made in the past decade, and the way they deal with the implications of carnivores and herbivores, humanoid intelligent versions of those. Living together in a society, and what would happen in like underground black markets in that kind of society is spot on, brilliant, and disturbing as all get out. There's some
a little more intense than Zootopia, maybe.
Way more intense.
Way more. I mean, and that's a comparison. Not to get on too much of a side tangent, but that's a comparison that's often made with the show. It's Zootopia like it probably really would be. And if you get a chance, watch it. It's the best CGI animated anime ever made.
And the dub's amazing too.
Oh, I haven't watched the dub, so because I watch everything in sub, but I have heard that. Really super complex characters. It's really good. Anyway, and sadly, way more complex characters than what we've got so far in these last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Of Mandalorian. Cobb Vanth was a more complex character in episode 1 than anything we've been shown so far in these last 2 episodes. So we got on longer than I thought for this one topic. Gonna do some wrap-up thoughts, but I do want to say one thing. I didn't realize until I just read this a little while ago that Bryce Dallas Howard directed episode 3. She also directed the one where there's the attack on the village where Baby Yoda eats the frog with the blue shrimp people, and I thought that was horrible. I thought the direction in that episode was just clumsy as could be. She nailed it in season 2, episode 3, with the introduction of Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorians, getting a great performance out of Katie Sackhoff, which often, she can be hit or miss. Really, I thought she did a great job. So let's go around again, starting with Ashley. So last thoughts, I guess let's put it. What do you want to see come about from reaction or so on from this going forward in this season?
I mean, in response to that question, I guess I want this to be acknowledged. I want Mando to make it up to the frog people. I want him to acknowledge it with them that this happened. And I think that if that happens this season, like, maybe that's one of those, like, really quick, even if it's just in a visual, like, here's a present. Like, I would love to see that. The only other thing I really want to make sure I state is that Sasha Banks, who is a professional wrestler, was in episode 3, which we haven't been able to talk about because Baby Yoda eating stuff. But yeah, like, I think it was interesting that they made the choice to have her be the mostly silent Mando.
Oh, that was her.
Yeah, that was her. She was the blue-haired one. Yes, that's the boss, Sasha Banks, current SmackDown Women's Champion. And the only other thing is that we didn't really get to discuss is after a tadpole is born of the frog people, Baby Yoda is playing with the tadpole a little bit, and in the way that Puppet v Puppet can play, and not trying to eat it. And I think that that's probably what they thought would be a nice, well-rounded, like, oh no, it's alive now, so and it's sentient, so Baby Yoda isn't going to eat it. But it is one of those things where it didn't stick the landing.
So Baby Yoda is a liberal snowflake cuck that is trying to prove that unfertilized is okay, but it's only live and when it's born.
Yes.
Yeah, no, okay, maybe. So Byron,
I think there are implications it didn't intend to make.
Yeah, no, I definitely dove off that cliff really hard. Byron, same thing, and again, because I got a chance to point out something that we hadn't, and Ashley did, also the same thing. If you've got something that you want to point out that we didn't talk about, fire it up. But also, what do you want to see happen as a result of the reaction to all of this?
Well, I don't have as strong an opinion about Baby Yoda learning that lesson as much as she did, simply because he is a baby, and as someone who's worked in the childcare field, children know how, like, kids around that age group in human years don't have a lot of empathy, and sometimes it takes shoehorning that lesson into them for them to realize, oh, I fucked up.
Yep.
And it was lazy writing, but I've seen a lot worse, I guess.
Well, ain't that true? Gogo, same thing. If there's something you want to point out that we didn't get to, now's the time. But also, where would you like to see this go?
I am going to piggyback on what Byron said and expand on that, because until we all had this discussion tonight, I was thinking maybe this was a very convoluted and very poor way to show that we have these expectations because Yoda was so amazing. That we've seen the child again use the Force for good, but like anything, like most things don't come out of their egg or womb or gaseous state with their fully formed, unless you're an orc or something, but that's a whole different thing. So if Favreau was trying to show that we can't expect this little kid to have the very complex thinking and depth and compassion that old Yoda had, like, this is a work in progress. If that is the thing, it'd just be like, don't forget, this is a kid. He did really bad. That was really bad. So I guess what I'd want to see is, if that is the point, if it was to show, like, don't forget, y'all, toddler's gonna toddle, then be better. Do it better.
Yep, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Don't use potential genocide and the eating of sentient parts of sentient beings as a way to make oh, look, Baby Yoda's got to learn stuff. Wow. What a mistake.
That in like the very first season, in the beginning, in a cute way, where he kept unscrewing the little knob with the spaceship stick shift, and then he did it again. You say, no, don't do that. Then he does it again, and then finally Mando just handed it to him. It's like, you know what, it's fine, but when it's not fine, let's do something about that.
Exactly. So a little parenting going on here, even if it's in loco parentis. So that's it. My take on it is exactly the same. Please have some sort of meaning down the road. Otherwise, you're going to show us that you basically wrote Baby Yoda doing something really, really horrible with just for the yucks and with no consequences. And that's bad writing, John. Sorry. Absolutely love everything else you do. And everything you do with Mandalorian for the most part, but boy, that was weak sauce. So that's it, folks. That's our take on.
Still better than Rise of Skywalker, though.
That's a pretty low bar there, Byron. You know, it's not tough to get over the bar set by Rise of Skywalker. You know, I think I could do it. When I had dislocated my knee, I could get over that bar. But anyway, yeah. So thank you very much, folks, for tuning in. Let's go around starting with Ashley and give us our goodbyes.
All right, bye everybody. If you want to learn more about me and my writing, go to ashleylaurenrogers.com. You can also go to isittransphobic.com to listen to my podcast. We just today dropped a new episode for everyone to listen to on But I'm a Cheerleader. And it's a fantastic movie. I recommend everybody watch it. It is about conversion therapy, so FYI. But that, and also scowlfight.com to see my stage combat show that we've had to translate into a digital space called Scowl.
Awesome. Byron.
All right. Byron D0 on multiple facets of the internet. Like I said before, I'm an artist. I post a lot of stuff. I post a whole lot of stuff on Instagram under the artist known as Byron D0. And you can look for me on Byron D0 on DeviantArt or on ArtStation. Also Byron D0.
Cool.
Good night.
And ArtStation would be where they could buy some stuff, maybe?
Yes, possibly.
Awesome. Go.
Again, I'm Gogo Incognito. And if you can remember that, it's Gogo Incognito. Sorry, my brain is woo. If you can remember that, you can find me anywhere on the internet. I suggest if you want to see pretty pictures and silly cosplays, go to Instagram, which is at Gogo_Incognito.
Oh, yes. Aren't allergy medicines a wonderful thing?
Gosh,
and again, Rodney Brown, first-person shooter, Burley_adopter, blah, blah, blah. Thank you all for joining us. Thanks for the chat stuff. And we will see you next Tuesday, hopefully, for Nerd Week Live, our nerd news show, 8 o'clock, same time, but on Tuesday. And next week, I think this time we are finally getting to Bill and Ted.
Excellent.
Excellent. Whoa. So tune in for that next Thursday, and hopefully you'll have seen Bill and Ted Face the Music. Yes? Okay. Which tells you I haven't seen it yet. But anyway, we'll see you then, folks, and thanks. Stay safe. Please wear the mask. Please wash your hands. Please socially distance. Please stay at home if you don't have to go somewhere. California just put in the same restrictions that Massachusetts did a while back, and that is 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew, essentially. All voluntary, of course, but boy, are they going to try to make sure that you understand. Voluntary for people, the businesses, not voluntary. They spiked 5,000 new cases one day yesterday. We are not going in the right direction on this, folks. Please be safe. I'm not going to say you can't do your Thanksgiving. That's entirely up to you. But, very, very, very small groups and people that you've interacted with recently, that might be a good idea.
Don't be a Baby Yoda. Have empathy.
Yes. Thank you.